Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to Ladies Takeover Talking Ball. And, as usual, I have with me the wonderful, absolutely fantastic Queen Ellie. Wait, that's not right. Let me try that again. um, Queen Ellie. Everyone, does Ellie look weird to you? Because she looks a little different. I can't quite put my finger on it. How you doing, Ellie?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I still love. I'm still in love with Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Although my favourite player is still Bentancur. Um, yeah, and I'm still getting along. Been a long old track, but I'm still here. Happy to be with you, Ash, because you're my favourite YouTuber. Yeah,
Oh, it's funny. As you can see, everyone, this is not Ellie, but also very, very wonderful. We have Jose with us, filling in for Ellie very, very kindly on his own channel. So let him think of it as home. Uh, so welcome everyone to El Tel Cocorel. And if you haven't, show us some love, like, subscribe. Um, and yeah so let's sort of get into it immediately. And speaking of Ellie, we have Ellie leaving us a message in the chat saying, "Hey Jose and Ash, missing bring
being
on so
being.
bad being on so bad, but I have to take care of my Ange while you take care of Big Ange and Spurs news." That's like, I really wish Ellie's daughter all the best of health, and I hope that she recovers really, really soon, and that she comes back hale and hearty, so that Ellie can come back to us as well, hale and hearty. So Ellie, we wish recovery to Ange, and take care of yourself as well. Yeah.
And also, it'll be she can have her slot back with you, Ash. This is her slot with you. So yeah, I've been messaging Ellie every day, um, and it's going to be a long road for her daughter. But she's in the best of hands, having her mum in Ellie looking after her, and we wish nothing but all the best to Ange, but all the best to Ellie as well, because it's long hours, and it's a long trek trying to nurse someone back to health.
Yeah, it really is. It's a hard job, going to the hospital and nursing someone back to health. We also have, speaking of uh, uh, amazing people, we have the man with the best drip, Lee Smithy Smith, saying bonjour, Ash and Jose. Bonjour to you, Lee Smithy Smith. And Meta Football TV saying, "Hey, Ash, wish you all the best in this crazy world of social media." I wish you all the best back, Meta Football TV. Um, and Ben's here saying, "Morning, everyone. Morning, Ben. What a great cockadoodle do you had." Um, and Meta's also saying, "Ellie, wishing that everything is going as well as possible. Sending you my love." And Ben saying, "Bangela is in the best hands possible." Yeah.
It's interesting because Smithy's been very kind with his words this morning, saying bonjour, Ash and Jose. Because when there's other people that are presenting, Smithy's language changes. But it must be because you're here, Ash, that he's very polite at the moment.
No, he always says bonjour. He said bonjour yesterday as well.
Yeah, to you he might have said that, but to other people he starts talking about a load of other things when other people are presenting.
Oh well, Smithy, I appreciate it nonetheless. Um, so let's just get into it. Not much is happening as usual. We have a stress-free weekend without football. Where there's football, there just isn't Ange ball. So it's kind of nice to maybe get a break, sort of recalibrate our expectations for the season, take a deep breath. Everyone seems to be, there's a lot of like stress on the internet. So um do you so do you want to get right into like serious things, Jose, or do you want to discuss something fun?
you're piloting. I'm the co-pilot. You're piloting this show, so I do whatever you want to do.
Pardon me. Then let's start with something fun. Um, you know, uh, Cain is very unfortunately named because his uh, the whole biblical reference to his name doesn't really escape you. You know, the mark of Cain, the curse of Cain. So, do you think Bayern are suffering from the curse of Cain?
I don't know whether Bayern are suffering because of Kane. I think it's more to do with some of the strange decisions that they've made, um, whether it be by Tuchel. I think there's a lot of infighting above Tuchel as well, and there has been for the last year or so, even before Tuchel was there, because they got rid of their previous manager. Was it Nagelsmann was their manager? They got rid of him,
Yeah.
and he was 1 point behind, 1 point behind first place when they got rid of him. They went on to win the league. So I think there's a lot going on at Bayern that starts from the top, and then obviously Tuchel has come in, um, and some of the footballing decisions that have been made to me are strange to say the least. I.e., one of them was taking Dyer there. I found that
Yeah.
really strange. Um,
Yeah, they're not a fan of him either. I mean, some of the fans, the first game he played, they were all like gaga over him. They were like, "We are sorry, Dyer. Apologies needed." And then, it got a little like the true Eric Dyer came to the fore, and now they're not so convinced. Uh,
But I think they
what do
were,
you?
because when you look at social media when he first went over there, the Bayern supporters were saying, "Why are we taking on a player who doesn't get into Tottenham's first 11 and is not nowhere near the first 11 at Tottenham? Why are we then bringing that player to Bayern Munich?" So I think this all started then. But I've got to be honest, and I said it on Cockle Doodle Doo earlier. Dyer in his matches that he's played, yeah, we know he's slow and that, but he hasn't played badly, and he wasn't in the side that was defeated for the 2 games on the trot. He was actually on the bench. Um, but you have to think to yourself, Ash, if you've got the likes of De Ligt, Upamecano, and they've got another centre back as well.
Kim Min Jae. Kim Min
Yeah,
Jae.
Kim Min Jae. When you've got them 3 centre backs, and then you have Dyer. Dyer is a distinct fourth to them centre backs if you're going to play two at the back. So I think Dyer was brought in because the cover for Kim Min Jae as well when he was at the Asia Cup. Um, but Upamecano, he's had a couple of sending offs on the trot. De Ligt is in and out of the team. So it's all is not well at Bayern. All is not well at Bayern. But I
Yeah. Do you
wouldn't
think?
say it's the it appears because Kane's there, Ash, but yeah, it's not. Kane scored what 28 goals for them,
Yeah. I
but
mean, do you think Kane made a mistake though going to Bayern? I mean, I kind of agree with Ben here. He's saying, uh,
yeah.
uh, Kane has to relearn to be a team player. He has too much ego, and everything has to go through him. Tuchel is a crap manager. I pray he's not made manager of Barcelona. I don't think he will be. Do you think? I think like when you're going somewhere, you have to be excited by the manager you're playing for, and like people come, like I do believe that Ange playing for Ange had a bit to do with why our transfers chose to come here, especially in the January transfer window. So, like, do you think Harry Kane made a mistake going just because it's Bayern and it's a big club, going there to play, despite the fact that Tuchel's not the best manager, honestly, and all he that Champions League also in fairness, even though he did win it, there was a lot of luck involved in winning that Champions League. So, like, do you rate Tuchel as a manager?
Tuchel as a manager coach is not. He's not bad at all. He's decent. I mean, he had a decent track record before he went to Chelsea anyway in Germany, so he is decent. But something, right? So we have Ange at Tottenham, and the ingredients with having Ange and what Ange has done is worked out really, really well for Tottenham, and united fan bases, we've united the people in the back, we've united the team. There's an ethos, there's philosophy, but and probably the board have stumbled upon a dream in having Ange. However, at Bayern Munich, it's totally the opposite. It's not. I don't think it's that Tuchel's that bad. There's toxicity from the top. The toxicity started at the top, and then it's fed through to the team, whereby I mean I don't know. It's all social media, but the team are saying that Muller and Kimmich are two of the most vociferous in the changing room for wanting Tuchel to be gone. Um, so there's a lot of toxicity, but there's a lot of moving parts there that have made it really bad at Bayern. And Bayern, I think, not only are they getting rid of the manager, but I think they've got to sort themselves out at board level as well, and
Yeah.
then get back to being Bayern of old, where they've got a philosophy and ethos and a pathway for them of what they're going to do going forward. However, what does make it interesting for me, Ash, it must get boring when you win the league season in, season out. So it's good to
Mhm.
see someone else jump up and put their hands up in the
Yeah.
Bundesliga.
At least the Bundesliga is competitive now. That's always a plus.
Yeah,
And Ben saying, yeah, CCD was interesting, many hard-headed opinions. I kind of liked it. I like the fact that nobody fought. Like, you see a lot of these debate shows and everyone's at each other's throat and they're like, no, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. And you don't know what you're talking about. It didn't feel like one of those. It just felt like people, they accepted that everyone had a different opinion, but it was very like calmly stated. There was no shouting. There was no like banter. It was very fair and calm. So I appreciated that. I thought Ben
but then
good
but but
job,
then
Ben.
but then Ben did say that this is not a debate show. He made it
Yeah.
quite clear that this is not a debate show, and therefore that's why there wasn't a debate. There was just a frank discussion amongst the panel.
And I think that's what it should be. I think this whole talking heads, I mean we're talking heads, but like the whole talking heads just going at each other, I think is pointless. And if people just want to see that, it doesn't really result in either any belief in your club or any sort of pathway forward in terms of like discussions. Like, I mean, we are Spurs fans. We love our team. No matter how we choose to understand our team, we all love our team. Saying Smithy needs to sort himself out. Nah, Smithy's all right. Uh, and Lee Smithy Smith saying, "Gotta believe Jose. It's not past midday yet." Also, basically, Jose, it's not that he's uh, not he can't. It's that it's too early in the morning. That's what it is. That's why he's so polite because it's really early. So everyone, if you want to ask Smithy for a favor, you got to ask him early in the morning before those wheels start turning. You hear? We already did this one. It'll be interesting who Barca go for as their new coach. Yeah, I kind of would. I think Javi Alonso may possibly. I don't know. Um, Ellie's here saying hello, Jose and Ash. Hello, Ellie. I mean, I thought Ellie was next to me, but apparently she's not. um,
I don't know if you heard the intro, Ellie, but I was introduced as Queen Ellie, and I said, "Oh, I still love my Hoiberg. I still support my Hoiberg, but my favourite player is Bentancur. And Ash, you're still the best YouTuber, and I love you lots." So, Ellie, I had to do an impression of you, Ellie.
and then Ben saying Bayern or Barca should bring in Hansi Flick for his philosophy. That's a good shout, actually. Hansi Flick. That's a great shout. And then Quiz Ali saying, "How's it going? How's it going, Quiz Ali? Hope you're having a wonderful day." Okay, speaking about managers and our faith in them, um, I feel like we have to address this. It's like the elephant in the room. It ain't going anywhere. So, there's this weird thing that's happening on all the Spurs shows where people are sort of divided into these two camps of people just going like, you need to calm down. It's just Andrew's first season. He still has to work out a lot of things. And then there's a lot of people saying, no, he's naive. And, like, there's no point continuing with something that isn't going to work in the Premier League unless he's learning and tweaking and changing. It's never going to work out. But I would rather my life wisdom comes from Taylor Swift, and as Taylor Swift says, you need to calm down. So, where do you stand on this, Jose? I mean, it's one of those things where I kind of even don't want to discuss it because I feel like it's way too early to be talking about Ange out and these sort of things. There are people doing that, but I think it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, at least so early. But since it's in like the sphere of uh what social media is, like that little cacophony of voices. We gotta address it because we're in that little thing called YouTube as well. So what do you think, Jose?
I, at the end of the day, there's no smoke without fire. Not with the not with the Ange situation, but the toxicity and the negativity that you get on social media. So someone will say something, and what I tend to find in not only there but in life is that people won't do their research. They'll just believe in one thing that they hear, and then they'll, because they're lazy and they don't have thoughts for themselves, they just jump on the easiest bandwagon. They don't even think about it. So some people say, if someone said Ange doesn't fit and Ange is the worst manager for Tottenham, then some people, without thinking and without looking at themselves, will jump on that bandwagon. Some people will turn around and say, look, Ange is the best thing that's happened to Tottenham. Without thinking about it again, equally, by equal measure, they'll jump on that side. And, some people say it for uh, serialization, so to speak, and they'll make a comment and hope. They'll drop. It's like dropping a grenade. You drop the grenade in the room and see what happens. Will it go off? And if it goes off, who are you taking with you? And that seems to happen with a lot of what happens on social media. Um, for me personally, you're asking me the personal question. There isn't a question to answer. Just let him get on with the job, and we'll see where we are after the next transfer window, and we'll see where we are next season. Just let him get on with the job. For me, there's not even a question to answer.
Yeah, same here. I feel like it's way, way too early to be having this discussion at all. I feel like you give him a season and then you judge him at the end of that season. If you still have faith in him, then you give him another season. But at least give him that season before you even have the discussion. Like in my opinion, at least. You,
Can I say to you, Ash? Right? Obviously, we're Tottenham fan base. We're not fan base for other clubs. But do you think the supporters at Liverpool, Manchester City, and Arsenal, even after 2 seasons, do you think that their supporters were saying this? Do you think there was a conversation going on with their supporters saying, yeah, we should give Klopp more time? Because Klopp didn't do it in the first 2 years. Did they have these conversations? Pep didn't do it the first year he was there. All right, he changed things around the second season. But I don't think there's people at Man City saying, he's the wrong person for the job. Let's get rid of him. Arteta, after 2 seasons, for Arteta, because I know quite a few Arsenal supporters, the supporters were behind Arteta even after the first 2 seasons. They
I
weren't
mean,
turning around.
Jose,
They weren't.
I agree with you on the first two examples. I don't agree with you on the Arteta because Arsenal fans are like the most reactionary fans on the planet. The number of times you might have heard Arsenal out on one of these Arteta out on sorry Arsenal out, Arteta out on one of these channels. After he came eighth the second time. Was it eighth and
Yeah,
fifth?
yeah,
That was
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. But when he came
Uh,
eighth the second time, though, Ash, I think that the supporters could see that he was trying to get rid of your Ozils, your Aubameyangs, and that, because they didn't go straight away. There was a second season, and I think because they saw what was happening and that he was trying to get the toxicity out of the club, so to speak, then I think that the fan base were all right with it because they could see green shoots in what he was trying to do, regardless of the league position. Getting rid of them players a second season, they could see what they were trying to do going forward. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. I see. I'm in the same place as you. I do think that Pep got a lot of time and Klopp got a lot of time. And think about Arteta. Like Arteta, yes, he didn't. The Arsenal fans were reactionary too, like Spurs fans. Maybe it's because uh, Arsenal's possibly the most in terms of like YouTube channels has the most reactionary content that's produced. But I do think that with Arteta, he had no experience, zero experience. He came. Arsenal was his first managerial job. His first ever managerial job ever was Arsenal, and they still gave him time. And I'm not asking for that much time. Like I don't need 3 years, but I'd like to give Ange at least enough time that it's not ever a question whether he got enough time or whether he was backed. Like I don't want that to be the case. Like we still have the argument over whether Poch couldn't win us finals because he wasn't backed, or if he was backed, could he have won it? All of these sort of things. I never want to have that argument with another manager. I want to see a manager get backed, and then you know with everything the club can possibly do for that manager, see where that lands us. Um Sorry, my internet, am I frozen?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Oh, great. um I gotta say, to catch up on the chat a little bit, and Ben saying we Swifties, damn right we are. We're definitely Swifties, and you need to calm down. Swim Master saying, "Hello, Ash. Hello, Jose. I've only just tuned in. What's the main point, talking point of today? Or is it everything Spurs? It's everything Spurs. You suggest something, we play to the crowd. You want to talk about something, we'll talk about it. I mean, most things. Swim Master saying, drinking my tea. Oh, tea is nice. I wish I had tea right now. Audio artisans here saying, morning peeps. Hi, audio artisan. And Ellie saying, we get past this funk by dominating the ball in the key areas where we can hurt the opposition and stop faffing about passing side to side with no purpose. So this side to side problem has been an eternal Spurs problem, I think. It's been that for a while. Even under Poch, even with our best, that one, the wonderful Poch team we had, there were often times when we would be playing a low block and we'd just be passing side to side, it wouldn't work, and then the other team would break and score. Like the one game that really strikes me is when we would saw a title challengers in that Leicester season, and then we played West Brom, and we were just passing side to side. It never looked like we were scoring. And eventually, West Brom went on to win that game. There were a bunch of games like that. So this is I think it's a systemic problem at Spurs because we don't have enough creative players. I think it's like, think about it. Like Madison, he just gets bullied off the ball. What do you think, Jose? What do you think what Ellie's saying?
Uh, just before I say that, right, what I was going to say is just quickly is that the draw's been made in the Europa League, and Liverpool have been drawn against Sparta Prague,
Ooh.
and Brighton have been drawn against Roma.
Oh, that's a good draw.
Yeah, they've got
Not that
Roma.
Brighton is really challenging us, but it's still nice that they get a good draw.
And obviously we have to wait for the conference to find out who Villa get. That will be done later, probably about half an hour or so. So to answer this, we get past this front by dominating the ball in key areas where we can hurt opposition and stop faffing about passing side to side, no purpose. Right. So for me, right, I think what Eddie's trying to say. I think I'm not going to speak for her because I don't know what the words that will come out of her mouth, but my understanding of it is that when we had previous management and we watched our team for the last 4 years, um, we were doing this faffing about passing side to side with no purpose. But we're now playing a different style of football, and a style of football that we do appreciate, that's more in tradition of what Tottenham are about. And therefore, that's why people overlook, some of the stuff that goes on because of that. To me, like I keep saying all the time, life has changed for me, so being a Tottenham supporter, because in the last 4 years, and I'll say it and I'll keep repeating it for people to see it, and it might become boring, but I used to hide behind my sofa with my hands over my eyes, sweating profusely and swearing at the television. And sometimes you felt like throwing something at the television. So that's all changed, and it changed from the minute that Ange was appointed. Because the minute that he was appointed, I knew that we'd be in for better football.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. Like the utter dross we have seen for 4 years, I just, I, I would rather, like, no matter whether we win or lose. Yeah, it sucks when we lose, but like, no matter whether we win or we lose, I'm always looking forward to the game. And I can't say that I always was. And especially for people like me who have to, like, wake up at odd hours or watch games in at weird times, this sort of thing, like, take time outside of like our normal schedules to watch games and stuff. It's really really hard to stay up for a game in which we're just 10 men behind the ball and nothing is happening. It's just you just there's no incentive to do that except for the fact that you really love this club, and so you're up at like 3 in the morning, like, supporting them. And so I just wish, like, it, it's just wonderful to get that feeling back, where you're just excited for the game, no matter whether you're winning or losing. I would like to win. It's not like I wouldn't. I think it's like winning is obviously the most important thing. It's like what Anne said, right? I'm not here to play beautiful football. I'm here to win. After the Aston Villa game, when we played all the good football and we didn't win anything, he said, "I'm here to win." And so I'm with him on that. Like, it is a game, so there's a winner and a loser. But like I would much prefer that we played this style than if we were, like, sticking 10 men behind the ball. uh and the I do want to ask you about the Madison thing I was talking about earlier. Uh, you know, the side to side passing that Ellie's talking about. Often that sort of thing happens when you lack creativity, right? You lack that one person to sort of uh, get past the defenders, with creativity. And Madison for us is that player. And he's obviously come back from injury, so he's working himself back into form. But the thing is, even if he does come back into form, you can clearly see every game that each team they target him. Every game he gets fouled. Uh, without a exception, he has been fouled in every game. And they go at his ankles because they know they're made of glass. um, so do, do you think that even if he were to come back in form, just because he's always sort of crowded out and he's not able to do much simply because he's a marked man, and that we can't take advantage of the fact that he sometimes drags defenders because nobody else has the creativity to sort of, play around and have the tactical awareness of when he's drawing them out and, take the shot? Do you think that that's a problem?
So no, because for me, right, it's a mark of he's a good player, so they target him. But for me, if they double bank on him and they crowd him out, like you said, because there's been times we had two or three players around him. If you're doing that as a footballer, it means you've taken players away from the game, and it should free up opportunity and space for players within your side. Just that what we need to do is we need to understand this quicker. So our reactions need to be quicker to understand in-game management, what's going on. This is the players on the pitch, not Ange. Understand what's going on and then take advantage of it. So if he's taken three players out of the game because they're marking him, then that means two players from our team, there's got to be an overload for it, at least two players. And two players can then create, find the opportunity, create that space to do something with it. So our players have to become clever with it, and I'm sure that these are things that they would be training on the pitch to do. But like I keep saying all the time, And did you hear my analogy on Cockle Doodle Doo this morning about the casting, the scripts, and stuff like that? For me,
Yeah.
people need to understand what Ange is saying and he's clear line of thoughts on how the patterns of play should be and what to do in certain situations. They must be getting coached like this. Now, the players that are picking up the players that are picking this up and other things will survive to next season. The players not picking it up will drop by the roadside at the end of this season. So yeah, to me, as I said, if you're occupying players, it's the same as Sonny. If Sonny gets the ball down the left and he gets double banked, then that's got to be freeing up one player from our team because two have gone to Sonny. So you've taken the one player away. So that gives us an overload of at least one player. So we just got it's the patterns of play. We just need to carry on doing what we're being told on the training pitch and carry on learning the way and the patterns of play. And as I said, some people will suffer and some people will thrive.
Yeah, yeah, I tend to agree with that. Swim Master is saying, I once said on a channel, Ange will learn so much off this first season. I was jumped upon with, he's been a manager for 27 years. My point was the Premiership is the biggest, best league. Surely he can still learn. Yeah, I mean, I agree with this. I think that I think Pep, being the amazing manager he was, he came to this league and he learnt as well. I don't think 3 years ago or 4 years ago, Pep would have had a target man like Haaland in his team. But he's adapted to the league as well. I think Jurgen Klopp has adapted to this league as well. It's always a give and take, and all the best managers, they adapt to football, they adapt to changes, they adapt to different leagues. So yeah, always managers can always learn, and I do think that Ange is also learning on the job despite having 27 years of experience. That's true, I think, of any manager, whether it's David Moyes, or if it's like, it could be just like the oldest managers. I think I'm guessing that Ancelotti is still learning as well. Like, I don't think there's any manager in the world who isn't constantly adapting and learning. Fergie was relevant simply because he did that. He constantly was adapting and learning. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to keep up his dominance for as long as he did. And Ellie saying we need more quality in key areas to achieve this goal. Yeah, I do agree. I think our forwards especially, we need slightly more quality up front. Ellie saying I don't like calming down, I like living on the edge. Um s- yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm sort of like a live by the seat of your pants sort of person. What's the saying? Is that how it goes? Is it seat of your pants? It's something like
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, it
Um,
is. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but in this case, that would be Ange ball. The calming down would be the exciting option, because um, you know, if you switched from Ange ball, you'd be playing more defensive. Uh, uh, like like everyone's saying, the two at the back is a little much. And Sumas is also saying typos is the way of life. I did one on my last comment, but hey ho, Testuali, can you spot my typo in my last post? Yes, I love typos. Love me some typos. And then Daniel E is making an interesting point. He's saying, when did we see this attacking football recently? I'm only seeing snippets of it and little snippets. We're playing more like a transition team at the moment. What do you think about this, Jose?
For me, the eyes don't. For me, the eyes don't lie. I know what I've been watching, and I know what I've watched for the last 4 years. I know what I'm watching now, and to me, it's definitely attacking football. Right, we may not attack for the whole 90 minutes. I've said it. The thing that's missing for me is to be attacking and to play Ange ball, if you like, to play it for 30 minutes of the first half and play it for 30 minutes of the second half. Because if you do that, then you're putting two halves together. And if you do that, you're going to own at least 2/3 of the game. Yeah. So for me, I just think that what we need to do is everything that we're being taught and stuff and everything we're training on is just to get two halves of this, not just get the one half in a snippet, but get two consistent halves of it. And if we do that, what will have it will have a domino effect. And I've said this many a time. when we click, we finally click and we click into gear and we understand what we're doing and we click into gear, we will be knocking teams down, but it'll have the knock on effect where we'll do it week in, week out. We'll start doing it more often with regularity. But what we need to do, first of all, is get what we're doing right and, um, yeah, control, have that game where we're attacking and, where we look on top for 30 minutes at least in each half. We get two halves sorted, then the rest of it's not going to be far away.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I do think that the season in which Liverpool reached like 97 points, was it 97 or 90? It was 97, right? They didn't win the league, but they reached 97 points. I think um that season, I mean, in any other normal sort of situation, they would have won the league. A team reaches 97 points, they win the league. And in that season, if you saw Liverpool, um, they just they would constantly be winning narrowly. They would just outscore their opposition. In the middle, Van Dijk was injured as well. They had a defensive crisis, but like similar to some similar to what we had, but not with other injuries in other places like we had as well. So if you remember that time, I do think that uh like it looked like Liverpool were a counter-attacking transition team, but most of the time the intention, because it then the intention is always shown in your press, right? It's always in how hard you want to go at the opposition, how much you press, how much energy you show. That intention, I feel like, uh apart from parts of the last game, I've seen that intention in our team. It is true. I think that it makes a huge difference when Poro and Odoji are not playing, because I think uh, they're constantly going at the opposition, and I think they put a lot of pressure going forward as well, in a way that Emerson and Davies don't do. I'm not saying that Emerson and Davies are responsible. I mean, they are. Emerson is partially responsible, but I'm not saying that that's the reason we didn't show enough uh, fight or eagerness or press or whatever it is, because other people are at fault as well. But I am saying that it makes a difference, and so I do think that sometimes what may look like a transition team doesn't mean the same thing in terms of whether you're playing attacking football or not. It's about the intention. Intention is always to go forward. With Conte, our intention was always score a goal, stay back, and then we would concede eventually. And that was what was disappointing. So it was always about what the intention of the coach is. Um, Swimmers is saying, where's our play of the first 10 games? Is it other teams adapted? Are injuries not fully match fit yet? Or are we still missing a couple of injuries like our defense last weekend? What do you think, Jose?
Um, yeah, sorry, I'm muting myself. Right, so for me, I think, and I said this before, I think there's a culmination of things. I think when for the first 10 games, we had a settled side, so everyone was fit. Everyone was learning the patterns of play and what everyone does, and we're all learning about each other. And there seemed to be a unity in the first 10 games, albeit the first game. So the first game, we started Emerson against Brentford. But then from the second game onwards, Porro came in and we had the same lineups for the first 10 games. And we probably had the same lineup for Chelsea as well until we got the injuries and sending off as well. I think there's a multitude, there's a load of variables. You've got players that are coming back from injury that are trying to get back to fitness. With that, I'm talking about Van der Ven, Benton, Core, Madison, all players trying to get back to fitness again. Then you've got players that were suspended or out for a long time, and that would be someone like Romero, who's also injured and suspended. And then you've got Bissouma, who's been out suspended for a while as well. And then you've got the players that have been to the Asia Cup and to the AFCON. And it's a multitude of things that we've got. There's a whole load of different variables coming back to us now. The more, I think these 2 weeks, although it's not match time, and there's nothing like match fitness, but although it's not match time, I think these 2 weeks are really important for us on the training pitch to build up levels of fitness, both on the grass and inside in Tottenham Hotspur way when they do all their exercises and stuff like that, and just about getting people um, stronger in their bodies and to trust their bodies more. And Bentancur is one of them. Bentancur needs to trust his body a lot more. Van der Ven's going to be thinking psychologically, I've got to do what I need to do in my warm ups and in my fitness regime to make sure that I don't get the hammies again and stuff like that. So it's a multitude of things, but I think that we can't make excuses, and I won't sit here and make an excuse. But with everything that's gone on, everything that is going on in the next 2 weeks is vitally important, and hopefully we come back for the Palace game a much stronger outfit, both on the pitch, both on the subs bench, and and its mentality and being healthy as well and coming back. Now, what I'm hoping for Palace, and I know Palace is a week away, so there's going to be many shows before then. But what I'm hoping for Palace is that the penny has dropped with a lot of the stuff that's gone on in the last two games, because we haven't been good in the last two games. I'm the first to admit it. We've got by. We've not been good, and I'm just hoping that the learnings and the teachings on the training pitch bear fruit. Like I said before, one game, get it right in one game, and then I think it's going to have that domino effect. I'm so hoping that this will be against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, it's such a blessing in disguise, that this game's gotten postponed. I think it's gonna be like that Palace game is gonna be the real test, and it's at home, so it's comfortable enough to be a test. And Jishnu saying we really lack that killer passing. We need to bring a wide playmaker type winger who can find the runners. Well, there was some question about whether we're gonna get Pedro Neto. Um, who do you think? Who do you think? Do you think that we need a wide playmaker type winger? Is that who you think we need, Jose?
I think someone asked a question to me on my show last night. They asked if we had to sell one player at the end of last season, we were forced to sell one player, but both the players wanted to stay with us. Would I have sold Son or would I have sold Harry Kane? It's an interesting question I was asked last night, and I turned around last night and I said I would have sold Son, because at the end of the day, we sold Harry Kane the day before the season started. If you know that you have to sell one and you sell them early on, then you can then uh, plan and bring replacements in for the player that you sold. And as it happens, we seem to have bought in. You got Son that plays there. You got Werner. You got Solomon. You got Hill. You got Johnson. You got Cooling. We've got loads of wide players, but how many centre forwards we got? So to me, at the end of the day, I'm not sure if we can get if we're going to make any signings. I want the signings to affect the first team, so that means that they're challenging and want to be in the first team. I don't want to make signings. Oh, they're a good player, but they're going to come and sit on the bench for us. I don't want that. In order to push onwards and upwards, we need to bring players in that are going to improve the team, improve competition. That's what we need, and that's what I'd like to see. Um, yeah, so that's my answer for that. It just for me, I really, Ash, I'd like to see someone that can play across the front three, but can also score goals and be effective, and probably someone that can score goals. I mean, I go back to the Liverpool three. Liverpool never had a centre forward. They just managed to bring together Mane, Firmino, and Salah, and they were interchanging three. None of them was a number 9. They interchanged all the time, and they were as prolific as you're going to get them three players.
I think with Harry Kane, I do think that Harry Kane, he's just one of the best players in the world because he's two players in one.
Three.
He is the yeah, well, three, yes.
He's
But
an 8, he's a 9, and he's a 10. He's three players in
yeah,
one.
he's just amazing like that. I think that we replace some of the creativity that he gives us as a 10 with Madison. Some of it we did, although Harry Kane is stronger on the ball, I think, than Madison. But we didn't replace him going like scoring that final goal, and we didn't replace him. we actually even didn't even replace his like, like his hold up play and his defensive abilities. Even though Richarlison's hold up play and defensive abilities aren't terrible, they are nowhere near the standard of Harry Kane. The number of times Harry Kane has headed balls out of our own box, the number of times he has been the outlet and then has held the ball up with like three defenders around him. I mean, I lost count of the number. He's just one of those players that's really irreplaceable. But if we have to replace him, then we need two or three players to do it. I don't think there is another player. If there was another player in the world market, there was two or three players, he would go for 150, 200 million. Um, uh, and everyone, like Jose is saying, the like button is the one with the thumbs up besides it. So everyone, smash those likes. Keep them coming. And then, hi Tony, saying big up guys, happy Friday to you, Tony. Smash the like and subscribe. And then saying definitely seat of your pants football. Yep, you got it. I mean, I'm not wearing pants right now, but if I was, they'd be seat of the pants. I mean, I have and I'm wearing a dress, just to clarify. Um Jishnu is saying Ange is still better than Arteta at the moment for me. He only comes below Pepper Klopp at the moment. He just needs some quality players to elevate his game more to a title contending side. Do you agree with this? Or do you think that do you think he's better than Arteta?
Who? Yeah,
Ange.
I think Angie's and I do think he is, and it's not because he's Tottenham. I do think he is, but with Arteta, um, okay, if I put it this way, Arteta has got a way of playing and a way of thinking where he's a copycat.
Yeah.
Ange is very unique in what he does. He hasn't copied
Yeah.
anyone. He's unique in the way that he sets teams up and in his tweaks and adaptations. He's been unique. It's been Ange all the way through. Arteta is somebody's puppet. Uh, and he's but equally he's cutting his own teeth at Arsenal. So equally he's cutting his own teeth at Arsenal. But with Arteta, Arteta's been given all this time and he's been given the tools. Right, give Ange the tools. Let's see. Let's measure them both. If you give Ange the tools, so some people will say, but you're being unfair. You're thinking about it with a Tottenham hat on, and that's why you're saying Ange. Well, it's not because I've explained why I'm saying Ange. But give him the tools, like Arteta was given the tools. Let's see what Ange does.
Yeah, same here. And I genuinely think that there isn't it's not they're not two comparable people, because Ange is somebody who's like a total outsider. He's really sort of like r- uh ground grinded his way to the top. Is that how you say it? Like he's worked so hard to get where he is, and he's done it in leagues that nobody cares about, that nobody here watches. And like he's worked himself up that pyramid. And I think that uh the kind of grit that requires, the kind of experience that comes with it produces a very different kind of person than Arteta, who's um in some ways like a I'm not at all saying that Arteta is a bad manager. What I'm saying is that he comes with all the pedigree, right? He's played for all the best clubs. He's coach, like he's learned his coaching from the best coach. And then like he's had such a, like, no matter what you say about Arsenal, he's had like a huge big budget club sign him as his first job. Uh, it's just like a dream run, right? It's the kind of life that's blessed. I feel like there's no comparison of the two, because one's like the poster child for like princeling, and whereas the other is just like this, like if there was anime, they one would be the villain and one would be the hero of the story, you know. But yeah, so I think that it's just not a comparison you can make. It's an unfair comparison to make. And Swim Master is saying, is it true our academy is learning and system parallel with the first team, so they can easily fit straight in if they progress? I hope it's true. I do think it's true. If you watch our under 21s and under 18s, and unfortunately I had to pay for Spurs play to do that. So Thank you, Spurs Play, for making it so expensive. But like if you're willing to give it a go, pay for Spurs Play, watch them play. They do play a lot, like Ange. They don't always invert, but they do all of the other things really well. So I think that we're finally putting that system in place where the youth team is going to progress. It hasn't happened yet, and there are people saying that Ange doesn't trust the youth. But like Jose, you made a point during Cockadoodle Doo that like Klopp etc. are putting young players in now, but that's because they've been playing his system for like since they started in the academy, and so
Yeah,
you gotta be like you gotta institute that system like Ange is doing now before you put the young players in.
shoot, you back?
Oh, was I out?
Yeah, you was talking about Klopp, and then you said you got to beat, and then I lost you.
Yeah, so basically, I was just saying that with Klopp, he was here for really long. He was there for really long. He instituted a system, and that's why he's able to bring the young players on immediately because they've been playing the system since they were like children.
Yeah,
I think that we're finally seeing that system here in Spurs, and maybe in 2 or 3 years, then Ange can bed in the youngsters.
yeah. So what I was trying to say on Cockle this morning is that with Klopp's been there 8 9 years at Liverpool now, and the philosophy that he brought in, and he wanted everyone to play the same way. Liverpool's players that are coming through now have been adjusted to that for the time that they've been in the academy. So in the under 14s, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, so on and so forth. But with Tottenham, what we're doing is we're at the very start of the journey. Not only Ange, it started just before Ange. It started when Paratici came. Um, but with Paratici and with Ange and whatever, we're instilling this now. But what we're doing is because we didn't have enough in our academies, we're actually doing what the big teams do, and we're actually purchasing youngsters from other academies and bringing them to our academy to make our academy stronger. We're teaching the way of, we're all playing the same way as the first team, and the ethos is that way through the club. But with that, it's not an overnight thing, as Klopp has shown. It's something you've got to bring in, and you've got to run that cycle for however many years before you start bearing the fruits from it. So if we bear any fruit from our youngsters coming through in the next 3 or 4 years, we would have done extremely well, because a cycle like this, it could take starting from the under nines and someone being in your system for 10 years in order to get there. The same as Man United. When Man United had the generation 1980, 92 or whatever it was, when they had that generation, them players had been playing under 10s all the way up before they got their chance. And in the end, they had what, 6 to 8 players? They certainly had about 15 players that made the pro ranks, but at the club, they had 6 to 8 players that went on to have a career at Man United because they've been doing it from a finite young age. And as I said, at Tottenham, what we're doing is we're doing what everyone else is doing at the moment, where we're trying to bring the very best into our setups in order for them to strengthen our setups and in order for them to have a chance of getting into the first team. Um, yeah, the other teams around us are far more advanced, but it looks like that's the path that we're going down, Jishnu.
Yeah, let's hope it works out for us. Um, um, we gotta say good morning to Wayne Bonner.
Hi, Wayne.
Hope you're well, Wayne. And Wayne's also come in saying combination of injuries, suspensions, international lack of fitness coming back, tiredness from training could also be an
That was
issue.
from the question that you asked me earlier, and I think Wayne had answered that at the time.
Yeah. And then Tony saying the difference is that Klopp and Pep got backed and Ange won't. If there had been an audience in the stands, Arteta would have been fired. Yeah, I agree with this actually, Jose. I think Arteta really struck gold. I mean, I don't want to call the pandemic positive for anyone, but I think he struck gold by the fact that it was an empty stadium. Because if Arsenal had been losing like that and coming eighth and eighth again, it's possible that he would have been fired if there was a crowd, if
But
there was an audience.
these it's for these global companies, if you like, if you want to call football teams global companies, they can see what goes on in the sphere on social media and if people stamped with their feet hard enough and there was enough traction there, and then also as well, although we had COVID, it people vote with their feet by how many people secured season tickets for the following season, and that had there been a general effect with stuff like that, Arsenal may have made taken a different course. Obviously, Arsenal, like any other big club, because they are a big club, although they are our foes, they are a big club. A lot of these big clubs have a amount of season tickets, and then they have a certain amount of thousands waiting on a waiting list. So you know that people were always going to go. If you give up your season ticket, someone else will buy it, and therefore therefore every manager will probably be given a chance on that opportunity because you're always going to fill out the stadium because you're always going to
Yeah, I
get
mean,
people buying season tickets.
If we appointed Nuno, it's not like people gave up their season tickets because Nuno Espirito Santos was our manager. Uh, so I think it's just par for the course when you have a lot of fans. And then Rimanshu is here. Hey Rimanshu, I feel like it's been a while.
Hi,
How you
Romanshu.
doing? Daniel E is saying we need to be careful of the new manager effect at Crystal Palace. That's true. Glasner actually rate. I think he's an amazing manager. He used to manage Eintracht Frankfurt, and they won the Europa. He's like I think it's a great appointment. What like do you think we need to be aware of Palace?
Right, so when Palace played against Everton and it was a 1-1 draw, the comments that I made on a show that I did after was, is it because right? So to me, it didn't sit well, Ash, because on the Thursday of the game, right, the press conference, there's a lot of hype that Glasner had signed for Crystal Palace and that they were going to get rid of Hodgson, and then at 11 o'clock in the morning, it was then stated, no, this is not all true, and that Roy Hodgson would be taking the presser at 1 o'clock. About half an hour, about 12:30, the news then came out that Hodgson had fallen ill and been taken to hospital. And therefore, he's under Ray Lewington and Paddy McCarthy were going to take over the team whilst he was in hospital. On the day of the game against Everton, they then announced Hodgson stepping down and that Glasner was in fact coming in. And Glasner was in the stands. The team lineup, and my comments were, is it by design and by injury that Crystal Palace have played a back five? Or is it because to do with Glasner? Now, if it's to do with Glasner, then that means that he would have had influence before this game to go to a back five. So it'd be interesting to see because against us, if they haven't got Guehi, will they play a back five against us?
Yeah, I mean
Who knows?
it kind of strikes you like not exactly, but kind of strikes you like the Martin Yole firing, where you just like half time you find out that you're not going to be manager anymore. Um, it does leave a bad taste in your mouth, especially for someone like Roy Hodgson, who's just one of those like really respected managers. But I feel like even if Roy Hodgson hadn't fallen ill, I feel like he was out on his way out because
Yeah,
I don't think that Crystal Palace uh it was inevitable. I feel like he's too old to still be cutting it, and the game has changed a lot as well. Some it's a young like I'm not saying that there has to be an age. I think when your mental faculties are good and you're adapting and you're learning, you're constantly improving, you can be at any age and you can be good. But there comes a time when you stop doing that, and then you have to sort of either um either just take a step back, maybe move to a lower league, or possibly retire. And I think that graciously retiring is also is a good skill to learn. Retire when you're at the top of your game. um Ellie saying my daughter and hi and hope you're
hi
feeling
Ange.
well.
Yeah, we said earlier that that we wish Ange all the very best, and she's in very capable hands of Ellie, and how hard it is to and all the hours that you need to put in order to nurse someone back to health. So we wish you both and the rest of your family all the very best in your convalescence and in your recovery, your road to recovery, and may it be a speedy one, and may it yield 100% positivity for your bodies.
Yeah, Tony's saying absolutely. I really hope Ange recovers really, really quickly, and so that we can get Ellie back because we miss Ellie.
I'm
And
here. I'm here.
yeah, I mean,
I love Hoiberg. I love Hoiberg. But Bentancur's my favourite player.
yeah.
And Ash, I'm your favourite YouTuber. I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, and then Tony saying very few complain when Conte took us from nine to Champions League, and when he wasn't back then, most started whining like a bunch of little kids. Um, that's true. I mean, it's the mark of a fan to start whining only when we start doing badly. I think it's just one of those things that fans are like that. And Ellie Singh done a double promo, double your people. Woo! Yeah, Ellie keeps this show ticking. We love Ellie here. And then Jose is here saying, show Ash the love for her content and creation of topics on the show, but liking the show. Yeah, everyone, like the show. As Jose has reminded us, we must do what El Tel Cockerel wants. Um, and then Ben here saying the surprise of the show. Where will Ash appear next? In an ice cream shop, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the Caribbean. Tune in to find out. Um, well, Ben, I have to say, challenge accepted. We will. I will find a new place to stream from. Well, actually, no, I don't have a lot. I'm not that rich, but I will try and figure out how to do a new background every single time, and not with a green screen like Jose does, but like with actual new background. You never know, you might see some of India through Ash's YouTube background. So you'll learn something new every day. And then Mia saying, "Smash the like button." Hey Mia,
Hi Mia.
how's it
Good morning.
going? And then Ben saying, "It's actually fun not to be mod father for a change. I get to be silly." Ben, be as silly as you want. Um, it's not. We're not serious people. This is not a serious show. We're just hanging, chilling on YouTube. Be as silly as you want. And then Paul's here saying, "Good morning, Jose and
Morning,
Ash."
Paul.
Paul, you're welcome to be silly as well. Although I do think Ben would be hard to beat. And then Swim Master saying, "I smashed the like button as I first came on, but I broke my keyboard." What? Doing it? Excuse my humor. It's okay. I've only got my smartphone and it's got Gorilla Glass. LOL. Well, yeah. Thank you for the Gorilla Glass smartphone company, people. Because we want Swim Master to continue watching the show, so we don't want his phone to be broken. My phone is currently broken, but I still tuned in. So everyone, tune into the show. Um, so yeah, that kind of covers this whole and all of the curse and all of that stuff. Let's talk about something vaguely interesting, but maybe Spurs fans would not really care. Do you think Poch finally wins a trophy in England?
Like I said on Cockerel Doodle Doo this morning, the Chelsea have come into form, results, the playing style, the players seem the penny seems to have dropped in the last 4 games, and they've had a good run of form in the last 4 games, and they're now meeting Liverpool, who are decimated by injuries. We know for definite that they're without Allison, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Slobbersley, Jota. They're all definitely out. They're hanging by a thread about Salah and Darwin Nunes, who were rested for the game. And then they played a load of they played a couple of kids or 3 kids in their starting lineup, but then they brought 4 kids off the bench to substitute some players. Um, it's interesting. There's Liverpool, although they've got all these injuries, they seem to sweep Luton aside 4-1, and that was a really impressive result because I've said all along that Luton are one of the hardest working teams, and Luton gave us a really good game at their ground when we beat them 1-0 and we had a sending off. They give us a really good workover. And I feel that Luton's front three, if they're fit, are the quickest front three that we've faced in the Premiership this season. So for Liverpool, with their much changed team, to go and brush them aside 4-1, it's a superb performance. So yeah, Chelsea are running into form, um, but I'm going to turn around and say that I do favour Liverpool to win the game, regardless of who they put out. I just think Liverpool are more cohesive, and have done it for a longer period of time than Chelsea. Chelsea just doing it for 4 games. Liverpool have been doing it for all season. Um, I think Klopp's got a really good chance of this cup. He's got a good chance in the FA Cup. He's got a good chance in the league, and he has an excellent chance in the Europa League. So Klopp could be going out with a big time bang.
I mean, wow, that would be amazing if he got out of Liverpool with a quadruple. They would pray to him for like that.
Well,
He would be their new god. He would
he
start a
has he,
religion.
he has live chances in all 4 competitions, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So
Oh my, and they'd be insufferable. Can you think about the Liverpool fans winning a quadruple? My God. Oh my God. No, I can't even think about that.
yeah, when they won the league for the first time in 30 years, and that's their trophy, it was insufferable then. They deserved to win the league that year, but core was insufferable. You didn't hear the end of it. 30 years of crying, bleating, and everything for it. Yeah, if they went on to do that, Ash, oh God, they'd be unstoppable, wouldn't they? The fans.
Yeah, oh my God. But on the other hand, I do want Liverpool to win this one because I don't care. Call me petty all you want. I don't care if the manager of Chelsea is Poch or SpongeBob. Like I could not care less. Chelsea cannot win a trophy this season when we can't. I'm sorry. It's just one of those things. I never want Chelsea to win anyway. In fact, I feel like sometimes I hate Chelsea just as much as I hate Arsenal, and so I cannot I would be so upset if they end up winning silverware, because it's possible that that could mean their season is better than ours. I think they're 10th or something, right, on the table. If they climb the table a little bit, and if they um like win a trophy, that would really suck. I'm sorry, Chelsea can go to hell. I hope Poch never wins anything with them. I mean, he can be unceremoniously dumped. After that, I will wish him all the best. If he goes to like if he goes back to Southampton, or if he goes somewhere else, or if he goes to like La Liga, fair good fair fortune to you. All the very best of luck. But as long as you are at Chelsea, I do not care. Chelsea cannot win a trophy. I am sorry. So I'm really petty about this. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I kind of want Poch to win just to like shove it in Levy's face and stuff. I could not care less. uh as much as as much as I hate Levy, I hate Chelsea more. So I'd much rather Chelsea loses. Sorry, that was a rant.
Sorry, can I just also say, I only saw Sparta Prague. So the Europa League, the last 16, Liverpool, Sparta Prague, Roma, Brighton, Benfica, Rangers, and Freiburg, West Ham.
Okay. Benfica Rangers sounds like a fun um matchup. But like honestly, I don't see any, I don't see Brighton winning this anyway. I feel like Brighton would come out by now, and then Liverpool I feel like is gonna win the Europa.
But
So
we
I
do
I
need
feel
the
like
we do need the English clubs to do well for the coefficiency rankings.
I
So
think I think they're settled though, Jose. I feel like it's very unlikely that England gets a top five.
no,
Uh,
England currently the points as it stands at the moment, England are third.
yeah,
There's two in front of England,
two
but
can
that can
go.
still
Germany and
change. But where we are at the moment, England have dropped into third where we are at the moment. But if the teams go well and go progress to the next round, then they're going to pick up more points.
yeah, I that's the only reason I was upset Arsenal were losing to Porto as well. I mean, I wanted them to lose, but at the same time, there was a little part of me who was like, oh, now they can focus on the league. like if they were to be, if they leave the Champions League at this stage, if they do badly, they focus on the league, and we don't get the fifth spot, all of that, so I was thinking about all of that, but in the end you're always happy Arsenal loses. And as David says, pot who. um yeah, so Chelsea and Arsenal can go, go to hell. I hope Pot loses, I hope Arteta loses. And then Daniel Lee is saying, will Eze and Elise be back for next week?
I'm
No,
going
they
to
will
tell.
not be back.
I'll tell you now. If I look at the clubs, because I've got the Premiership
I know.
website.
I already know the answer to this.
Okay, so it says that Eberechi Eze is currently being assessed on a thigh injury, and he's currently ruled out. And who's the other one? Elise. Elise is definitely not back. Elise's earliest date at the moment is the 6th of April as coming back. That is, and Mark Wahey has a knee injury and is currently ruled out as well. Will Hughes is currently ruled out, and so is Rob Holding, but he's not back till May. And Czech Decore is out, and his earliest date is June.
Yeah, I was that's what I was saying as well. March, mid-March is what I was seeing as Eze's date, and Elise is April. So I don't think they will be back. I haven't heard any news to suggest in the contrary. And Paul saying, I've got a feeling Chelsea win this. I really hope they don't, Paul. I hope your feeling is wrong. It would be a massive message to the Tottenham hierarchy if Poch wins. To be honest, it would be pretty funny. It would be funny. You are right. There would be a lot of irony involved, especially because technically, if you think about it, Poch has been backed at Chelsea. As much as they play Moneyball, they have spent $1 billion. Uh, so it would put things in context, especially because we reached so many like we reached final and semi-finals. So, and Paul's saying there's a lot of swearing this morning, Ash. Did I use the C word? I didn't use the C word. Not the wrong one. I don't use that word. Jose, I promise you I didn't use the C word. I did swear a bit, but no C words here. Jose, you still there? Oh, well, then I guess I'm by my lonesome. Um, so yeah, like I was saying, Poch. Oh, thank God. You had me scared there. I was like, I got Jose demonetized. Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Terrible, terrible. Um, terrible, terrible curse words. Swim Master saying, is Champions League top four as usual or top five? I keep hearing if top five, will that be a qualifying round first? I hope top five gives us more of a chance as Villa looking good. Big game, us and Villa. So currently, Swim Master, it's top four because England are third in the rankings of like how well the teams are doing in Europe. So we gotta weirdly pray that all the English teams do really well. But even then, it's an outside chance because then they have to go up really high for us to get through. So I do think that uh, it's going to be hard. So for now, it's top four. Wayne saying Chelsea is the wrong C word. Oh, and Swim Master saying Paul meant Chelsea. And then Alex, being his very regular and consistent self, is saying steak. Uh, steak to you as well. Um, but weirdly, Alexander, I can't. I always associated like steak with you, but after seeing that Arteta video with the steak, he has permanently ruined steak for me. The other day, I think Ben or someone sent a picture of them eating steak on WhatsApp, and I swear all I could think about was Arteta, and I was just like, how the hell can somebody ruin steak for somebody? Like steak is one of the yummiest things on the planet. How can that get ruined? Anyway, that's about it. Jose, you there now? Earths to Jose. Jose, do you copy? Come in. One, two, three. Nope. We clearly lost Jose there. And Daniel saying it will not be funny one if Chelsea win a trophy in the darkest period, and we couldn't even win anything. And when we're in a good period, it will show how much of a joke we are. Yeah, I kind of agree with this. I would not want Chelsea to win. I definitely would not want Chelsea to win, especially because they're in contention for two trophies. That really sucks. Um. Anyway, Jose is back. Hi, Jose.
Hello. So
So we Daniel was just saying that it would like really it would really hurt us if Chelsea were winning a trophy in their darkest period when we couldn't even win one when we're doing well.
you
Um
know what? It's horses for courses. It's variables. There's a lot of different reasons and aspects as to why people win things in the seasons that they do win them. You know, we've seen lesser clubs win things. You know, it's all dependent, and it's just the way the cookie crumbles over the year. You know, at the end of the day, you've got to look at the. Although Chelsea are not playing their best football at the moment, look at the path. Look at the teams that they had to play in order to get to where they are. The draws play a part in it and stuff. You know, there's a whole load of variables. So at the end of the day, it will be what it will be. I'm not going to dwell on it, whether they win or lose or draw. I'm not dwelling on anything at all. At the end of the day, I'm still supporting my team. I want to see us do well. I'm concentrating on Tottenham. I don't care what happens on the outside world, to be honest.
yeah, fair enough. The final piece of news that we're going to talk about is the fact that Manor Solomon is back. Do you think it's irrelevant? I mean, in considering the fact that he would be third, do you think he would be above Timo Werner in contention?
Sorry, Ash, tell me, Solomon is definitely back here. Is this being, is he back in training, or is he back on the grass, or is he just back in Tottenham Hotspur way? Is he
I
back? Is he
think
back in
he.
contention for selection?
No, he's not back in contention for selection. Um, but he's been seen training on grass from what I've heard.
Okay, I think with Solomon, with me, I've said I've not seen enough of Solomon yet to make a judgment. Um, Playing 15 minutes there and 15 minutes there is not a big enough sample size to judge him on. However, during the week, seeing what Mr. Madison said about him was quite interesting. So, if Mr. Madison is a right judge of character and of a footballer, then Solomon will be some player. But I think Solomon. The thing about Solomon, though, Solomon playing on the left, you can see that Solomon really he is attack minded. He is a player that wants to go past his player. He's probably one of the ones that we can say of all our wingers, whether he's good enough or not remains to be seen. But he's one of the ones that has the intent to go past, and that's what you want a winger to do.
Yeah, but do you think because we have Sunny on the left as it is, so he's not going to start. And then we also have Timo Werner, and we have uh like depending on where Kulu is playing, we have Johnson. So do you think that Solomon it even matters since because would he we're not playing anything other than the league? Do we do you think that he would get any game time at all?
From the starting 11, it's a great conundrum to have, Ash, for me, because from the starting 11, if you're going to put it that way, right, and the players that you've named and mentioned at the moment, if we were then to look at it to have our first 11, it means that he has choices to make. So he could have a choice to make on the right between Johnson and Kulu. He could have a choice to make down the middle between Son and Richie, and then on the left it could be Werner and Solomon. So whatever three people you start with, you know that you have three capables to come off the bench, hopefully to keep up the speed and the intensity of the game, and like in rugby, you don't get rugby in India, but in rugby, the bench they call them the finishers. So the people that come
Uh-huh.
off are the one they call them the finishers, i.e., the people that finish the game. So they keep that momentum and that tempo up, even though you've taken some of your starting players off. They call them the finishers. Maybe we could have these players, however, whatever permutations you have, we could have these players as finishers for Tottenham, which would be great because in the midfield you'd have Madison, Sarr, one other, which means then you still have, if it's going to be Basuma for the time being, you still have Bentancur to come off the bench. And okay, you've got Højbjerg, you've got Hill, and you've got Donnelly, and you've got Skip. This is the kind of things that we want. We want him to have this. Yeah, for next season, we want to have better players. But for the time being, what we've got options. The solutions, we have options. And that can only be
Yeah.
good. And I think Solomon adds to that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Swim Master saying I can't understand how Leicester won the Premiership and still shocked because of it. Yeah, honestly, you and me both, Swim Master. But I'm happy about it though. Like I I I I, I feel like Spurs fans were the only people who were not happy that Leicester won that year. But I have to say that since we fell off, I was really scared Arsenal would Arsenal was also like up there, neck and neck. And so I was really scared that Leicester would fall off and Arsenal would take over at one point. And so I'm kind of happy that Leicester won over Arsenal for sure. And then especially because if we bottled the league and Arsenal won it, that would suck so much more. And then Wayne saying Chelsea winning the uh, Carabao, is this like the League Cup? Chelsea winning the League Cup wouldn't make their season better than ours. That would mean Wigan had a better season than Man City when they beat them in the FA Cup after being relegated. I mean, that is true, but then again, Man City won the league that year. So I think, so it is it like it's hard to it's hard to say that not winning a trophy isn't better than not winning a trophy. Like that's how I feel at least. Um, Wayne saying I like Solomon, but the injury hasn't helped. He's clearly a good player, but he needs to play football. Yeah, I agree with that. And Great Solomon is back. If true, the more the merrier fit within our squad. He could be a great player, fast-paced sub, running a retired defense within the later stages of the game. Yeah, we have a lot of pace now. With Warner, Solomon, Brennan, David saying living Leicester wasn't shock for me at the time.
Are you not
Yeah, Jose.
mentioning Kulu for the pace?
Ellie. And then David saying living in Leicester, it wasn't a shock for me at the time because I could see the total belief in every player that season. Even if they went behind, they had total confidence that they would win. That is true. And I mean, to be fair, they had some fighters in that team, like N'Golo Kante. Like, you know what we say about Sar? That was originally said about Kante. Like, 70% of the world is covered in water and the rest 30% is covered by N'Golo Kante. I do think that, he was just, uh, despite the fact that he's considered such a good midfielder, people still, I think, underrate him because he was just, there was a point of time when he was the best in the world at what he was doing. Uh, and then David Clark is saying Lo Celso isn't fit. Um, yeah, tell me something new, David. And then Nick's here saying, I don't even want to think about Chelsea winning the League Cup. Yeah, same, Nick. I'm right there with you. Um, yeah, so that's all we have for today. Um, we leave you on the bitter idea of Nick suggesting that Chelsea might win the League Cup. And
Good afternoon, Nick.
Jose, afternoon, Nick. Jose, what's up next for you and for El
Um,
Cocker?
well, Eltel Cockerell will now not be, possibly will not be back on now till next week. Um, however, we're on the Talk and Ball later at 4 o'clock for the show there, the Friday show, which normally takes on board predictions. So we'll be doing the predictions for this week. This week's predictions for game week 26 start on Saturday. There's 8 games for this week. So there's 6 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, 1 on Monday. So we'll be doing the predictions for that at 4 o'clock today.
So everyone tune in for predictions, and thank you, Swim Master and Nick. Best of luck to your wife, but I really hope Liverpool don't win like a quadruple or something, because they will be insufferable if they did. Lo Celso is the Argentinian Sessegnon. I swear, they should just make. There are just so many of these Spurs players. They should make an injured 11 like Lo Celso, Sessegnon, Lamela. I love Lamela. Like, he was one of my guilty favorites, but oh my God, the man was injured so much. We should just make like an injured 11. Um, so anyway, that covers all of the show. Make sure you tune in for the prediction show, and that's me saying goodbye. And as usual, we leave you with the James Madison
And
song.
thanks for having me on your show, Ellie. Myself being Ellie, I enjoyed myself. Thank you very much, Ash. And I'm
Yes,
glad I'm
Ellie.
your
Ellie, you
favorite.
did a great job.
I'm glad I'm your favorite. I'm glad I'm your favorite YouTuber, and I still love Hoiberg, although Benton was my favorite player.
Yeah. See ya.
My team has got James Madison. James Madison is what we need. Whoa, thank God we got James Madison. This kid plays ball like you would never.